Session of Singleton pattern. In this session, we will try to understand what is basically Singleton pattern, see a small code walkthrough, and see that how we can use practically in our projects. So let's just run to the fundamentals of Singleton pattern. First thing, they fall into creational categories of Singleton of design patterns. Singleton pattern will be normally used when we want only one instance of object to be created and shared between the clients. So there are situations where we only want one copy of the object to be shared between all the clients, and it's like for example, you want to share some kind of global data across across your project. So at that time, singleton pattern is the way out to do. Second, we also want that client should not create an instance of the object. In short, the object should be created by itself, okay, or it should be created by itself, or when the first time the object is accessed, a copy should be created, and later on all the data manipulations or data sharing should be through this copy. So it's like a, a big global class object or global object which you want to share across the clients. So steps to implement singleton pattern: first, define the constructor as private, because once you define the constructor as private, you cannot create the object. So we meet our condition, saying we meet one of our condition which we describe first, that we should not be able to create instance of the object from outside. That is implemented by defining the constructor as private. So first step, define the constructor as private so that clients cannot create object of it. Second, define all your methods and instances as static. So once you define your methods as static, basically only one instance of the object is created. Static keyword is nothing but it's a programmatic implementation. For example, if you're using C# or if you're using Java, you'll find the static keyword is a way to implement singleton pattern. So here's a simple class, singleton class, which I've created. So you can see that first thing, this is nothing but it's a counter class. It just keeps a count of hit count, saying that how much time this class was accessed. So basically, first there's a static variable int counter. As I said, all the variables should be static because you want to share that object across the client. Second, your constructor should be private, very important. Third, definitely you also have to have all your methods as static, because or else static methods can only access static variables. Now, if you look at the client code, this is your client code. If you look at over here, that we are not creating any object of it, we are directly calling it by class name. Why? Because we don't need to create an object of it according to definition of singleton pattern. There's already a global object created. So by just calling cls singleton dot hit, it will always go and increment my internal counter. Now let's see the code walkthrough how it looks like. Here's a simple singleton class which does the same singleton class which I defined. So my class singleton, there's a counter, private singleton so that nobody can create an object from outside, static method names, hit, get total hits. What I've done is in my form I have two buttons, hit 1 and hit 2. So I just call cls singleton dot hit, and again I call in my second button click cls singleton dot hit. I have two buttons basically on my form, hit 1 and hit 2. Now whenever I hit both of the buttons, it will always go and access the same object. Why? Because there's only one instance of the object which is shared across. So this way what I should get is the counter should increment again and again, and it should be like cumulative. The value of the int counter should be cumulative across the clients. So if you run this project, the counter is 1 first. If I run again, it's 2. If I run from the other button, it's again 3. It's again 4. So you know what? Both of these buttons are basically accessing the same global object. This is a very theoretical implementation, like I said, theoretical way of explaining you guys. But actually, in projects, you will always find that you'll always notice that these kind of global sharing data is needed. For instance, sometimes you would like to have some kind of parameters which are defined in project which you want to share across projects. You would like to define some kind of global variables which you want to share across projects. So in these kind of things, singleton pattern definitely comes to use. I hope that we were able to explain you singleton pattern. In case you have any doubts, you can always mail me your suggestions, your improvements, and your questions to shiv_koiral@yahoo.com. You can also add me to chat in case I'm available online on Yahoo. I'll definitely reply to it.